Very rarely there's a product that can save you a lot of money. And my estimates is that this product is going to save me nearly $1,000 a year. This is a robot lawnmower that requires no wires, no crazy setup, no maintenance fees, and it runs without you needing to babysit it. Segway sent this out for me to check out on my lawn. So big thanks for the sponsorship, but this does not change my thoughts on this product, and this is based off my actual usage. Starting at $1,000, the Navimow robotic lawnmower comes in two varieties. We have 1/8 acre and 1/4 acre. The version that was sent to me was for 1/8 of an acre, but if I were to buy this, I'd get the 1/4 as I have a decent sized yard. Inside the box, you have everything you need to get started. You have the robot, the base station, the antenna, the power cords, and extension cords. It also comes with additional hardware to mount the base station and the antenna. Setup took only around 5 minutes once the hardware was installed. The one thing during setup that you need to do is ensure the antenna has a clear view of the sky and it's facing the satellites. And the built-in app will help you with that. Personally, the first place I put it, I didn't have an issue at all, but using the app, you can kind of figure it out. And also, thankfully, there are enough extension cords just in case if you need to move it a bit or get creative with the mounting. Some people like to mount these things on the roof of the house, which does make sense if you have a lot of trees in your yard. The lawnmower itself is pretty basic looking. The orange wheels are the only accent point and the rest is gray and black with a large red stop button at the top. There's also an LCD screen at the top that can give you all sorts of status messages, and also that's how you initially pair it. And there's also an LED that gives you more status information on the go. Up top, there's like this physical dial, and that is the manual cutting height adjustment, and it goes from 2 inches to 3.6. And you can really dial in that perfect height. The first thing you need to do is map your surroundings. This is something I've done on another robot before, and it's a process that can take a long time, but it is crucial to ensure that it knows where the boundaries are. But this one uses cameras to help. So even if you're off a little bit, it can still see where your lawn ends, so it corrects it for you automatically while it's cutting. But with the Navimow, it was really quick to set up just because you don't have to be precise. And also if you make a mistake, it's easy to go backwards. You hold the delete button and it literally rewinds what you just did and puts you back in the right spot. Also, you can set up multiple zones. So you can do one section at a time if you want. You can have one section cut at a certain day at a certain time and another section at a certain day and time too. So it's really nice not to have to worry about it cutting for 2 hours. You could just have it cut 30 minutes this day and 30 minutes the next day. Once that was done, I sent it off on its first cut and I was blown away about how quiet it was. It's only 58 decibels, which is an equivalent to like a electric dishwasher in your house. It went on a diagonal path and it started cutting. My yard, and most likely yours, is uneven. I have little hills, I have tree roots and other elements in the yard that can be a little difficult to cut. It is rated for 16 degrees of slope. My yard is nowhere near that, but it's nice to see that it has the power to do it just in case. Now when cutting, it was very precise, staying on my property and also cutting on the previous line. The lines were very straight and also visible. I had neighbors stop and ask questions, and most people were very impressed with its accuracy and how quiet it was. Now, some of the tree roots are pretty thick and the Navimow went over most of them without an issue. A few of the roots were thicker and actually protruded from the grass. And I was interested to see how it would cover this area, as it could be a bit tricky even for a regular lawnmower. The Navimow went up to the root and then stopped and turned back around and then resumed cutting. Then when the cutting process was over, I noticed the Navimow went back to areas that it didn't cut or areas that it couldn't get to, and it attacked it from a different angle to kind of cut that down. And I was monitoring this on my phone and I saw that there was like little missing spots, and the Navimow was going to each spot to ensure that it got cut. So that was really cool to see that it really got every single area that it could get to. The Navimow made it to around 80% of my front lawn and then it needed to charge. Now, once it was done charging, it went back and resumed cutting in the morning because it actually started raining recently. And that's another thing that it has built in. It has weather prediction. So if it's going to rain, it's not going to cut, but it waited to the morning and started cutting too. I didn't even know it was cutting until I got out of the shower in the morning. And this right here is actual footage from my bathroom when I saw it cutting by itself. And since it did rain, the grass was a little bit hard to cut, but the robot was pretty good. And also it is weather resistant, so I didn't really worry about putting it in the house when it rained. Now there's an additional accessory that I might buy. It's called the garage, and it's like an additional cover for the robot. I think it actually looks pretty cool too, but also that added protection just in case there's a really bad storm or something could happen. I do want to protect the robot even more. There are also some rocks that I have on the edge of my lawn that are laid out randomly. And the Navimow uses a technology called Vision Fence, which can detect 20 plus different items that are commonly found in yards. The robot knew it was an object. It didn't bump into it. It worked its way around it and it still cut pretty close to the edge. This is also true for the big tree I have on my lawn and also this fence post. The robot just cuts around it without an issue at all. Now, if this was something that didn't have grass around it, let's say it had mulch, or let's say it had like rocks or anything like that, I do have the ability to go into the software and mark any area as a no-go zone, which would then prevent the robot from even going near it. However, I do like how the robot was cutting around it. So I just let the robot decide how to handle it, but I know every yard is very unique. This robot is using RTK Plus and Vision technology to make this all happen. And this keeps the robot where it belongs on your yard and cutting where it's supposed to cut. That technology is a lot deeper than I want to go into, but I'll leave links down below if you want to learn more about it. Now, since I have a circle driveway, I do have another section of grass. This is what I call Zone 2. With Zone 2, I can put out a different cut schedule on the same day or even later in the day. And what's really cool is that the robot will just drive over to that area and start cutting on its own without intervention from me. The number one question I get about robot lawnmowers is, what do you do if someone wants to steal it? So the one feature is anti-theft, and there's an additional accessory called the Navimow Access Plus, which uses a cellular connection to the robot. So you can access the robot on a cellular connection, so if someone were to take it, or for whatever reason it veered off your property, you can also track it down. You can also set a PIN number on the robot that someone would have to type in to actually use it. So if someone steals it, it'll be really tough for them to actually use it. Now, I've reviewed another robot recently, and although it works pretty good with cutting, the mapping was not as good. And for that reason, it's one that my dad just doesn't use as much because he just wasn't comfortable with it. However, the Navimow over these past few weeks has been rock solid, and I may get rid of my lawn service next year because it cuts really well and it's super hassle-free for me. Full transparency, I may pick up an edger and a weeder to get those crispy edges that I really like to see, but most of the work is already done for me. So instead of this being a 2-hour job, this can definitely be a 30-minute job for me. Anyways, guys, I want to know what you guys think. Are you ready to pick one up? Is this the next revolution of robotic lawn keeping, or is there something more you want to see? Let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Kevin the Tech Ninja. Talk to you guys later.